Hey everybody, I just wanted to put a little video together to go over the game Diablo 4 and my take on it. I've put in quite a bit of hours into the game already. You'll notice the graphics really don't look too good right now. This is what it kind of looks like on low settings. I do have it on low settings just because I have a lot of stuff in the background running. I will turn it up to high here so that way you guys can kind of see what you'll be getting yourselves into. In case you guys are wondering, I am playing with a controller. The controller gameplay for this game is very good. I want to start there. They definitely built to make a good impression for the console players. So here we go. The graphics, I just set them on high. You can kind of see the footsteps in the sand there. Looks really good. Looks really nice. If I just teleport somewhere, you can, I'll show you the abilities as well. Okay. So I am level 70, so not as high as some people, but definitely I would say I am in the upper percentile of hours played in this game. So I feel like I'm also at the point now where I have a good enough footing to understand what this game is about so far and things you can expect in it. I'm going to go over some things I like, some things I dislike, and also some things that I just think are in the middle. On this game, there's a couple things here. The first one is the map size. So let me get out of harm's way here. Is the map size here. So as you can see, this map is a ginormous. We have waypoints all over the place, and then these ones that have these little towns here are the town portals. They kind of have one in each region. The map is definitely massive. They did a great job with it. Definitely lots of room for expansion, like classic Blizzard games with these gray spots down here, and they can probably add stuff as they go, but it's already huge as it is. So some good things about this map. The dungeon variety is definitely there. I'm interested to see how the seasons will affect this, because in the Nightmare dungeon rotation, there will be a limited supply of dungeons, so there will only be a certain amount in a rotation. If anybody's played World of Warcraft, there's this mythic dungeon system where a certain amount are in the rotation. So all the dungeons will be there and be able to be played in the season, but only a few of them will be Nightmare Dungeon eligible. And Nightmare Dungeons are basically these keys right here. They go all the way up to tier 100, and they raise the levels of the monsters and make the dungeon more difficult and have some modifiers, gives you a positive. So on this one, it increases critical strike, but it does empower elites. Monster burning damage, so they do additional burning damage. Monsters do have lifesteal and unstoppable monsters, so you can't CC. And they do randomize those affixes. So that's the first big endgame loop, and that is in regards to the map. So you'll be traveling to the dungeons, you pop the key, and you just walk over to the dungeon. Okay. So the waypoints felt good, the map movement during the campaign felt great, and the side quests kind of help you fill in the extra areas of the map to reveal it all. You can see, even after all the hours I've played, there's still little bits where I have not explored. I just haven't gotten to walking there yet. And then you'll see these in the end game. You will see these little whisper quests, which has to deal with this end game activity down here, called the Tree of Whispers. So down here, this is actually going to be a really good source of gear for you when you're targeting specific items. And you can do these in between hell times just as you're grinding for gear, and it just gives you a bundle of gear for that specific slot. You have a higher chance to high roll bigger item level equipment. So that's what these little quests are here. They do feel good to do. They really don't take you, they're just little side things, side quests. So they don't take you out of the flow of doing anything. You can really do them and not even notice it. Like if you're dungeon grinding, you could just pick the ones with the stars on them and just grind Whispers of the Dead while you also grind dungeons for the aspects, whatever you want to do. The next thing on this map is, and this is a gripe of mine, is the Altars of Lilith. I thought the first time of grinding these out and actually looking for these and finding them was going to be fun. It turns out I was wrong. This was the most brain-melting activity I have done in a video game in quite a while. There is 160 of them, so you can actually see that. There's 20... Well, let's see if I can point to it here. If you hover over at the top here, where on the very right, you see it's 28 out of 28. So each area has its own amount of Altars of Lilith. I did find them all. It took me about 3 hours. Maybe I was going slow. You could probably do it in 2, maybe even an hour and a half if you maximize your route. But I just put on some music and just kind of set off, and I did end up finding them all, which will make character progression for a new character significantly easier, as they do provide additional stats. They provide your character's skill points and also Paragon points. So they're definitely good to get, and I would almost say mandatory if you want to be any sort of competitiveness, but it is a brain-melting activity. The reason I say this is a massive con, I believe anything that takes you out of the game and is just not fun activity in general is bad, and that's exactly what this is, so it is bad. And we will have to do this again in seasons. So every season, hopefully they do change this. You will have to go through and claim these all over again. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, and I could see that deterring some people from wanting to come back to seasons specifically for this. I do feel very strongly against these Altars of Lilith. So they are a pretty tedious exercise to do. So that's pretty much it on the map. The next thing I want to talk about is the skill tree. So the skill tree is right here. It's actually pretty good. So people have jokingly called it a skill twig before because it looks like it has limited options, which it simplifies choice for sure. And I can definitely see gripes comparatively to games like PoE, where you have hundreds of different combinations and options that you can possibly do. They do lead you into builds that kind of make sense. For example, my build here is a trapping build that revolves around twisting blades, lowering the cooldowns of all of my abilities to dash and also trap more often. And then I use the poison imbuement to actually give twisting blades some damage. So builds can kind of help you figure them out just by kind of matching the abilities together, but that was kind of the goal of this, I believe, is to make it a bit easier for the player base to actually make decisions and feel like they're making a meaningful gameplay decision, and then it actually work and come to fruition. So I'm sure they'll definitely improve on this and add things as time goes on, but this I think is a great spot. I think there's probably about 3 to 4 viable builds per class right now. And by viable, I mean can do all the content. Absolutely. I mean, you can make niche builds and things like that can do probably 95% of the content. This is really just for the competitive people, right? So if you want the best of the best build, there's usually about 3 to 4 per class. So on launch, about 15 to 20 builds that I believe will be suitable to do all content. But like I said, it is open to theory crafting, and I'm sure people will find more stuff as time goes on. Unattached to this, once you hit level 50, you do unlock the Paragon tree here. The Paragon tree is painfully... it's unnecessarily complicated, for the ease of understanding of what nodes do. So let me explain. It's easy to understand what 5 dex is. 5 dex is 5 dex, 5 intelligence is 5 intelligence, even 20% damage is 20% damage. However, the way you get to these nodes and maximize your damage is important. It's like a Rubik's Cube. You can see here, this is the starting board. Everybody has a similar board when they start out. You grab the nodes that you want, work your way up the tree, and eventually you get your first board attachment, where you can select a themed board. So the first board I picked as a rogue was the Eldritch Bounty. When you attack with an imbued skill, you gain 20% resistances and 20% increased damage for that imbued element. The resistances are null and void for us. They don't really matter. And I will explain what that means in just a bit. When I say resistances are useless, but the 20% increased damage for the imbuement's element, so it's 20% increased damage for poison in general. So you can kind of see how you would fit that into the build. Now this is where it gets unnecessarily complicated. How do you maximize your damage and defensive skills while also, navigating this board best? So it becomes almost like a tile counting exercise into seeing what fits your build most. So dexterity, about 10 of it for a rogue equals 1% damage. 1% total damage. So we want to maximize our dex nodes, but also intelligence to get the maximum number of crit points for our build. So you do have to snake it together, and I can see people messing this up in the late game, which ultimately will lead to them just looking up a build, which is a build guide, which is, in my opinion, I don't think it's a big deal, but I do think it's something that Blizzard wanted to be able to avoid. They wanted to make this almost dummy-proof, which they did not. Because there's definitely room for error here. People will take willpower, for example, which will significantly reduce the damage they do, which will significantly reduce the content that they're able to do because of level scaling. Which leads into the next topic, is level scaling. So, in the world, the mobs actually scale with your Diablo character's level. So if we just come out here, starting in Inferno, you're going to see they're a little bit higher for me. Right here, they see level 73. So the reason they say level 73 is because I'm in Inferno. But once I reach level 73, they will start going up with my level. So if I turn 74, they'll go 74, 75, and so on. The reason this is bad is because as you hit these level gates, you will hit peaks and valleys of different power levels. So there will be, it's like a mountain, right? So you're climbing the mountain, you hit a peak. Let's say you hit your maximum damage potential at level 80, okay? At level 80, you are at your max damage potential compared to monster level. Well, what happens is the monster health goes up, the monster damage goes up, so your defenses and your power that you've peaked at starts to go down. So you turn level 81 and you feel weaker, right? And you considerably feel weaker until you get that next peak of power. And as you get higher, those peaks become less and less and less until you hit 100. And then hopefully, well, you better start, that's when, you better start really grinding, because you'll never, that's the final peak, right? Once you get to level 100. So you do eventually get to that power fantasy of being invincible, being super powerful, but it does take a while. And during that entire slog of getting there, you're going to constantly experience these hits of dopamine, and then you'll experience these very long depression cycles where you're just waiting for that next piece of gear to turn it around. So then no amount of Paragon points or skill points is going to fix that. It's really just gear-based because of how gear-dependent characters are. So there's a different item powers, 5 different tiers of item powers, and the max tier is 725 item power plus. As you can see on this weapon here, it's 809 item power. So this is a very good weapon. It's about as good as I'm probably going to get for quite a while, which is, I would say I'm at one of my peaks right now. So I feel very good when I play. But I know if I level a few more levels, I'm going to feel very bad because all my gear will be rendered significantly useless compared to monster strength. A lot of my gear is at 725 plus already. So the amount of character improvement I can get is nominal at best. Which causes, a little bit of an issue. But overall, I would say that would be a second core issue with the game, and can be challenging to overcome. I could see casual players also not wanting to deal with that slog. They want to hop in, kill demons, and it's not gonna be easy for you to do that when you hit these valleys. So, that would be probably the last complaint I have in regards to the game. As far as gameplay goes, it's very fun. Blizzard is amazing at gameplay mechanics. Everything feels smooth. You click Death Trap and it hits Death Trap. You hit Poison imbuement, it hits poison imbuement. You dash, you dash, you dash, you dash. You kind of get the point. And what people don't understand is the feel is very important in a video game. So when you feel that click, like it, boom, instant response, you feel a little bit immersed in that character. So Blizzard games have always been really good at this. That definitely stands true with Diablo. So, looking forward, what do I want to see? I would like to see significant improvement with the level scaling. The peaks and valleys can be an issue, which makes you feel less powerful. It's contradictory to your playstyle. When you play, let's say, 100 hours on your character, you should feel like you played 100 hours on that character. It shouldn't feel like you are back to level 20 and struggling to kill mobs. And then the next thing would be the Altars of Lilith. That's another gripe of mine. I really hope we won't have to redo those again. It's tedious enough we have to do it once. I don't know other people's opinion on it, but I can't imagine it would be any different considering how much of a slog it is. So if you have any questions, anything like that, please leave a comment, like, subscribe to this video, let me know what I can do differently. I'm just looking to entertain, have a good time playing video games with the boys. So appreciate y'all. Have a good day.